Hello and welcome, my warriors. Today I'm going to be taking you through a Budokon Warrior Flow. This particular sequence is really excellent for your recovery if you are a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete, your mobility and your strength, but it's also a great way to really reconnect into your body and to just feel really strong and powerful. Gives you something nice to do that is not that combat and that contact, but it's more focused inward and getting your body to feel nice and energetic and ready again. This is also great for anybody who is really wanting to learn more about their body and learn how to move in a more powerful, agile, mobile way. All right, so we're going to get started on our mats. We're going to begin in Seiza. Okay, so in your kneeling position, you're going to rest your hands on your lap, nice, long, tall spine, closing your eyes. If you'd like, if, for example, your knees are uncomfortable, you're also more than welcome to sit in your seated cross-leg position. But I encourage you to work on your mobility by just simply sitting here. We can take our left palm and our right palm, overlap the right palm over the left, and then just allowing your thumbs to connect. We'll take a moment here in our meditation. Closing your eyes, let's start tuning into our breath. So taking a big inhale through your nose, filling up the belly, the rib cage to the crown of your head, pausing for a couple of seconds, and then exhaling everything out through the mouth. And as we continue this breath, you're taking a deep breath in through the nose. Navel draws to the spine as the rib cage extends. I find a pause. I exhale everything out, allowing my belly to fully expand, balloon out. And just remember, you can pause for a moment at the end of your inhale and at the end of the exhale. And now as you're breathing, see if you can now just breathe through the nostrils only. So attempting to not breathe through the mouth. This is a more efficient way of breathing. It's a much better way to fuel yourself with oxygen as opposed to mouth breathing. It's also a great habit to train yourself into doing, especially if you are an athlete and you are in situations where your body is pushed to its edge. You're able to come back to this breathing. You always have your breath. Wonderful tool to master. So breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. You'll see I'm really exaggerating my breath, almost creating this heat in my body, using my tongue, which almost presses to the top of the palate of my mouth. Creating this sort of dragon's breath breathing. And this is how we prepare our mind and our body for the next activities that we're about to do. And now, returning to your natural breath, You're continuing your breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Coming now into your body. And if you start to feel a little bit distracted or restless, bring yourself back to the breathing. This helps remind us of the now, of being in this moment, training ourselves to not be distracted by everything, anything and everything, the chaos of life. We can return back to ourselves, to our breath, the simple act of breathing, life's greatest gift, oxygen. Coming into our body, scanning through your body, allowing yourself to see, how am I feeling today? Simply noticing, how does your body feel? Is there areas of tension, soreness, fatigue, perhaps anxiety or stress? Or maybe you feel calm, collected. You feel like you need a little bit more fire, a bit of a push. Whatever it is, simply acknowledging how you feel in this moment is all that's required. Now you can set the intention of what you would like to get out of this flow, whether that's for recovery, for your strength, your mobility, maybe even just to feel more connected within yourself, more connected to the energy that you hold as an individual. Taking a couple more moments here, breathing in through the nose, pausing, and exhaling through the nose. And when you're ready, you can come out of this space by slowly opening up the eyes. Just a little bit of blinking, taking in the light, looking around you, taking in your senses, feeling the ground beneath you. Presencing ourselves is the key to a powerful, beautiful practice. We will bow out of the practice. We will bow into the practice. Our right palm will come to the mat, followed by the left. You're going to connect your thumb and your index finger, okay, to make this kind of diamond shape on the ground. Straighten out your spine. If I turn to face this way, we straighten out our spine. We will bow in between the hands as a reminder and appreciation to have patience in this journey, in this practice, and to the warrior qualities within each of us. Us. We rise, arms come to our laps. We'll now find prayer with our hands, connecting them to our forehead or our third eye. And now just again to show our thanks, our appreciation, our respect to the yogi, the yogic peacemaker, the ability to accept what we can't change, to surrender to the process. Namaste. We each have these wonderful, beautiful qualities within us. You are the warrior, but you are also the yogi. We are able to create this sort of yin and yang energy within ourselves, but it's about being willing and able to learn how to tap into both energies when it's required. All right, some of us might be better at, working at our edge and pushing ourselves and, really tapping into that warrior fighter mentality. But then we also need to bring ourselves back in touch with the other energy, which is the more gentler, softer, surrendering, going with the flow energy. And so this practice is a great way for us to do that. Okay, we'll feel there's a little bit of both. Okay, so from our seiza kneeling position, we're going to find a 4-point base. So our right palm will come to the mat, followed by the left, and then tucking our toes underneath us. Let's get a nice stack with the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, and make sure you're nice and balanced here. So your knees are kind of hip width distance apart, and your shoulders are directly over the wrists. And remember here, we've got our spider grips, okay? You should know your spider grips. If not, go check out the tutorial on upper body, on warming your upper body up. So we're gripping the ground underneath us, and we're going to start shifting forward so that our shoulders come slightly past the fingertips. And then I'm going to push back. Shifting into the fingertips and pushing back. Shifting into the fingertips and pushing back. So we really want to just create this lean. We're starting to warm up into the wrists. Make sure you have a slight protraction in your shoulders, drawing your navel to the spine. Leaning forwards and backwards. Make sure you're pushing your fingertips away from the ground. There should be a little bit of space underneath the palm of your hands. And then from here, we're actually going to lean into the left hand, flip our right palm to face the knees, and then flip the left to also face our knees. Okay, so now we've got a supinated grip happening here. We're going to just step our knees a little closer to our fingers to make it easier. And then you're going to start shifting back slightly so that the palms of your hands come slightly off the mat, and then leaning forward again. So don't go too far where it might be a little bit painful. Just work at the point where you are feeling a stretch, but it shouldn't be painful. And everyone is different. Everyone has a different level of mobility in their wrists. And then bringing it back into your 4-point base. You're going to lean into the right hand. You're going to flip the left palm over onto the top of the palm. And we're going to start finding these circles. So really working into the joints. Maybe opening and closing your fingertips, making a fist, and then opening nice and wide. And you can even bend your elbow here, finding this beautiful rotation here in the arm. Remember your breath, always remembering to breathe. And this is so nice as well, this beautiful mobility work, especially if this is something that you don't usually spend time doing. It's a great way to ensure the health of our wrists and our fingers, our hands. And bringing your palm back down, shifting the weight into the left hand and flipping the right palm over. Same thing. We will start with these little rotations on the top of our wrist. And just make sure that you apply enough pressure so that it feels good, right? It shouldn't feel painful. And we're finding these rotations, flexing, opening, closing the hands. Beautiful. Coming back into 4-point base. All right, so we're going to start working a bit into the spine. So it's great for some spinal recovery. We're going to start shifting our hips back towards, back slightly. We're going to shift the hips back towards the heels, and then walking your hands out in front of you. We can even enjoy this little stretch here. And breathing, finding a little bit of an opening in the shoulders. I'm going to tuck my chin to my chest,
And as I tuck my chin, I'm going to start sliding my hands forward. And this part here is where I start drawing my pelvis to the rib cage, navel in towards the spine. I'm going to start rolling through my spine, maintaining this press in my shoulders. Okay, so we don't want to collapse here. We want to keep this beautiful cobra hooded protraction. Now, as I keep shifting my shoulders past the fingertips, maintaining my press, I start to melt my hips towards my wrists. And you can slide your knees slightly back to create more space for yourself. I'm going to unfill my shoulders here, rolling my shoulders back, and then pushing up and out of the shoulders, retracting them back. And then I'm going to gaze up in front of me. Make sure that your neck is nice and relaxed, okay? I don't want to see anyone crunching into their shoulders. Nice straight neck. And then also soften in the glutes. And then just resting the knees on the mat. You're going to draw the chin to the chest. Find this big press again into a cobra hood. So pushing through the fingertips. Navel to spine. I'm pressing my way back through this rolling wave to find my active child's pose here. Walk the fingertips out slightly. Let's begin. All right, so we're going to go through this again. So drawing my chin to my chest, navel draws towards the rib cage and to the spine, chin to chest, sliding my hands forward, rolling through, melting the hips to the wrists, rolling up into upward facing dog. And now we'll just keep moving through these, slowly feeling, make sure you're feeling every single movement, okay? So this should be a step-by-step process. We're not skipping through this. So drawing the navel, the pelvis to the rib cage, the navel to the spine, chin to chest, big press, melting the hips, rolling the shoulders back, puffing the chest out. Nice long spine. Recoil, big press, chin to chest, navel to spine, pushing through my fingertips as I roll back. Let's move through one more. Tucking my pelvis to my rib cage, navel to spine, chin to chest, big press, lean the shoulders past the fingertips, melting my hips, roll my shoulders back, upward facing dog, chin draws to chest, big press, reversing the sequence through into my active child's pose. Now rolling through your rolling wave again into a 4-point base. So finding your neutral spine and your 4-point base, stepping your right foot back, followed by the left into a plank. Lean the shoulders past the fingertips, draw your chin to your chest, big press, so your protraction, navel to spine, and we're going to start pushing ourselves back all the way until we find this full extension in the spine on the tops of our feet. And now we will now lower down our heels to the ground. Okay. So in our downward facing dog, let's just pedal out the feet here. You might feel a little bit tight in this downward facing dog. So if that's the case, you're going to bend your knees slightly, okay? Even if you keep your knees bent because you don't have the flexibility to keep your heels down, that's fine. Keep them bent, but then make sure you get in this shoulder elevation. So shoulders to ears, and you're pushing away from the mat. So we're getting this really nice extension in your spine. That's what I'm looking for. Make sure you're spiraling the elbows in towards the rib cage, and so that the pits of the elbows are facing in front of you. That's really important. Now, we're going to move through one rolling wave. Now with our knees not on the ground anymore. So we're going to come up high onto the balls of our feet, tuck the pelvis to the rib cage, navel to spine. Start leaning forward, chin to chest. Keep leaning, leaning, leaning until we find a plank. Okay, gazing slightly in front of me. I'm going to start melting my hips towards my wrists. Roll my shoulders back. Charge the knees. So the knees are floating off the mat now, floating upward dog. I draw my chin to my chest. Big press, navel to the spine, pushing through my fingertips. I reverse my rolling wave, and I lower back down into downward facing dog. Let's roll through 2 more of those. Okay, so coming onto the balls of the feet, moving through my rolling wave. Reverse, chin to chest, big press. Downward dog. One more time, high onto the balls of the feet. Tuck the pelvis, one thing at a time, navel to spine, chin to chest, rounding through. Big press, find your plank, melt the hips, the wrists, roll the shoulders back, floating upward dog. Reverse the transition, almost like you're pushing into a handstand. Pressing back, downward dog. Now see if you can maintain this downward facing dog. You need to learn to use it as a resting position. If you need to, you can drop your knees. Okay, and just find a little bit of a rest here. Maybe shake out the wrists if they're sore. Remember, guys, that it's normal for you to feel a little bit of discomfort in the hands and the wrists. That's because we're building strength. So it's only a problem if you feel a sharp pain. Then we need to back off a little bit. But otherwise, it's pretty normal. Okay, so long as you got your spider grips. So we're going to draw the feet together now. We're going to take the right foot and we're going to extend this right leg up. Okay, finding this beautiful extension in the leg. We've got a demi point, so as if we're kicking someone behind us. We're going to fold the heel to the sits bones. We're going to come up high onto the ball of the left foot. We're going to draw the knee in towards the chin. Okay. Lean forward. Step the foot in between the hands into this low lunge position. Now, for a moment here, feel out this lunge. So if you want to maybe extend your spine here, okay, and really feel out the lunge, maybe even take your palms up to see if you can create this stability in the lunge position. It's also a great way to work into the hips. If we bring our knee down, so the back knee, you can see here, if I start to lean forward, I get this beautiful opening here in my pelvis and my hips, and I push back. So let's even do a couple of these, right? We're going to pulse into the stretch and out. So we're going to just find some active and passive release here. Okay, great for recovery. And then we'll start building into the flow in the sequence.
All right, and then you're going to bring your palms to your knee, lift the knee, and then drop it. Lift and drop. Lift. Bring our hands back to the mat. All right. From here, we're going to find our archer series. So we're going to lean into the left hand, make a fist with the right. We're going to draw the right elbow up, find a bend in this left knee. Make a fist with the left hand, finding an archer over here. So in this archer, we find this nice push and pull where we're really pulling the arrow. So we've got a bow and arrow here. I'm going to release my arrow, bringing the right palm forward. The left is going to circle up behind you, and now the back foot is going to turn and pivot so that I find this warrior 2 position here. The key is so that we can find a blade edge on the back foot. Okay, so you'll see I'm on the blade edge of my back foot. My front foot is pointing in front of me. I've got this really strong stance and I'm gazing just in front of my hand. I'm going to take my left arm and my right, and I'm going to tick-tock them through, windmill, like a windmill actually. Keep your gaze in front of you. Now, I'm going to pivot my front foot and my back foot in so that I come. So if we remove the hands entirely, you'll see we come into this, it's like a very low horse stance. Okay, this is a horse stance, nice and low. So we've got the arms, bring them to the middle. We're going to slice them across the chest. And then I'm going to, as I start shifting my way into this left leg, the back leg, I'm going to find the blade edge now on the front foot to find double block or high drop stance. So essentially, we've got a high block and a low block happening here. Now, to reverse this, I reach for my sword by my hip. I come onto the tops of my foot, and you'll see here there's some mobility required. This right knee will start pivoting in. As I turn, I pivot on the front foot, and then I find the blade edge with my back foot again to find a deep reaching warrior. Now, if you find that you're really tight over here, because the goal is to actually get the rib cage to touch the top of the thigh. So if you find you're really tight, then what you want to do is perhaps start a little bit higher up. Lean as far as you can go. If that's your edge, great. But the aim is to think of yourself with a spear, right? Or a sword. Imagine you were holding a sword. Okay, you would want to lunge forward and through for that nice mobility. And then lower my sword to the ground. Circle my other sword through, extended side angle. Base my sword down. Now I'm going to turn my hips in so that I square them out. I'm going to press into my hands, recoil this right foot to the sits bone, rolling through my rolling wave, extend the leg, lower it down, downward facing dog. We're going to go on the other side. So feet come together, extend the left leg, then we point the foot like I can kick someone behind me. Fold the heel to the sits bone, come up high onto the ball of the right foot, moving through my rolling wave, all the way to my chest, step the foot through. If you find that little piece there pretty difficult, okay, then I just want you to step to the point that you can get it to, and then adjust your hands. All right, so
You can always make adjustments. Now, let's do what we did on the other side. So we can actually lower this back knee to the ground, come up off the mat, and start getting a little bit of a stretch here, maybe pulsing forward and back. Remember your breath. Good. And then we can lower the hands. Same thing here. Maybe lowering my knee down, coming up, and just doing maybe 3 of these. Lowering my hands. Now we will get into our arches series on this side. So making a fist with the right hand. We're going to draw our bow up. So we've got our bow and arrow. Slight bend in this back knee to rise up into our archer. Release the arrow. Left comes to the front. And now start opening with the right hand. Blade edge on the back foot. Front foot pointed in front, warrior 2. Pivot my feet in as I bring my hands up, okay? Make sure you lower in your horse stance. Try not to be up here. I want to really see you getting in to this squat and opening up the hips. And then I start to continue the circle to slice my arms as I lean into my right foot, which is now pointed at a 2 o'clock. And then I'm going to start turning my front foot in to find a blade edge on the front foot, opening into a double block on this side. I reach for my sword, turn my leg in, pivot through, blade edge now on the back foot. Remember to pivot your feet. And we find your deep reaching warrior where you can stay up here, or you can come low, reach forward, base the left hand, circle the right, spare out your hips, low lunge, press into your hands, recoil, beautiful extension, lower the foot down, downward facing dog. We will move through a rolling vinyasa. So you're going to come up high onto the balls of the feet, pelvis to rib cage, navel to the spine, rolling through like a full plank. This time, lean the shoulders forward, bend the elbows in one piece, lowering down to the mat. If you need to drop your knees, drop them. Just don't arch your back into a prone position. From a prone, we'll find a cobra roll. Okay. Piece by piece. So make sure your feet are tucked. You're going to push your knees so that they come forward and that your hips go up into the air. Okay. Flatten the tops of your feet. Now, you're going to start drawing your pelvis to the rib cage, navel to spine. Keep rounding through the spine, pushing into your hands slightly. Base your head if you need, chin to chest. Now when I'm fully rounded here, I start to lower my hips and then I press to the hands and extend up, roll my shoulders back into a floating upward dog, chin to chest, big press on the tops of my feet. Now go to your edge. If you're very stiff and you're here, that's okay, then just step 1 foot back at a time. Otherwise, come all the way up, stepping 1 foot over at a time. Beautiful. If you need to take a rest, do so. Otherwise, we continue. Bring our feet together. Extend the right leg. Draw the heel to the sits bones. Come up high onto the ball of the left foot. Knee comes to the chin. Step it through. Low lunge, making a fist with the right hand, drawing your arrow up, bend the back knee, rise,
into your archer. Release the arrow. Spear through, opening up into warrior two. Moving through horse stance to a double block. Now we add in the new piece. So from double block, I want to bring my hands here in front of me because I'm now blocking what's in front of me. Okay, so I've got my swords in front of me. Essentially, what I'm going to do now is lower from here to the ground into a seated half squat. So make sure my feet are in the right positioning. I've got my back foot at a 10 o'clock and my front foot is facing parallel to the wall next to me. Make sure it's on the blade edge. Now, I want to actually turn this front foot up slightly so that I've got my toes pointed up. I'm going to start to shift my sits bones back like I'm sitting on a chair and then bending this left knee. And I'm going to bring my hands to the ground because if you are not very flexible, then you might need to pay attention here. There's a few modifications you might require. So if you can keep this extended leg straight, great. You're going to use your hands to slowly get you to the mat. But if you are very stiff and you struggle to get to that shape, then what I encourage you to do is to shift over onto the left side and find a bend in this extended leg, right? So it's almost like you're actually coming into kind of like a little squat. So you're going to lower your hands, bend this leg here, walk your hands around, and you're going to lower down to the mat. But you see, the key here is that I kept the front leg and the back leg bent the whole time. So yeah, it might feel a little bit clumsy initially, but don't beat yourself up. Remember, this is a journey. And if you're using your hands, almost think of them as your base points, and you can kind of crawl them around you as you move, okay? Because they're always there to assist you. So if I now show you that transition, what it should look like, okay, and what we actually want to work towards. So from our double block, we're going to bring our palms in front of us, gazing in front of you. Now I'm going to sit back, toes up to the ceiling, slowly lowering down, 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 down. Okay, to my low drop stance, into a seated half squat. And we're on the ground. I'm going to take my right palm behind my right hip, like 2 foot distance from your hip. Base the hand behind you. All right. As I base my hand behind me, I'm going to circle this left palm across my body. Now watch this extended leg. We're going to come into a warrior's bridge. This extended leg, make sure that it's not super wide, because to bridge from here is very difficult. When you are about to bridge, I actually like to kind of draw this extended leg in slightly. That gives me more leverage to now bridge up. What's important as well is that this leg at the back here, that is your basing leg. Look at where you're positioning your foot. For example, if your foot is too close to your glute or your sits bone, and now you try to bridge, you're going to start experiencing this effect where you're going to come up onto the ball of the foot, and then the knee is actually going to be kind of like shooting forward. We don't want that, okay? We want you to have a good, solid bridge. You must be strong, and you almost like you're able to support somebody else's weight. Okay, so if someone was to sit on you, you should be able to support that. Okay, so you want there to be about a foot's distance space between the heel and the sits bones.
Now, I'm going to circle my horizon. I'm going to bridge my hips up. And then I find this beautiful warrior's bridge here. My back hand is directly underneath the shoulder. I'm on the blade edge of this extended leg, right? So I can't be moved. And then I've got this nice strong base. I'm not on the ball of my foot. I'm flat. I then lower the hips down with control, blocking my face. Now we have this little transition where we need to, you can watch me first one time. We need to come up through my low drop stance. I almost slipped there. Okay, let me demonstrate that in. So I slipped a bit. So we're going to push through this right hand, and then I come up into my double block. Now that transition is, again, a lot of mobility is required. So what I suggest to get this little piece is you're going to take your right palm, base it just behind your right thigh, and you can even bring this extended leg in a little more. Keep this leg bent, especially for my stiff guys. If you're very stiff, this is the only way to start working into your deepest ranges without overstretching or overcommitting and actually injuring yourself more, right? So you want to press into the hand. You're going to start shifting forward. Use your other hand that's in front. So you can even bring this leg in. Walk up, walk around. Lean into this left leg to find a double block. Beautiful. Okay. So we want to make this slick transition up. Okay, but that is for you to decide for yourself, what does my body need? Okay, you can bend your knees as much as you need. They don't have to be dead straight until such point that you get to a point where you feel like you are a little bit more mobile. So through our deep reaching warrior, reach for my sword, deep reaching warrior, blade edge on my back foot. Now from deep reaching warrior, I'm going to start shifting my weight into this front leg. So even for a moment, take a moment just to feel that. If I lunge forward and I gaze in front of me and I keep shifting my weight into this thigh, I eventually am going to get light on the back, on my back foot. Now I can pick it up, right? And I can find this balance point. And at this point, we want to actually find an opening in our hips to lower back down, shifting back into that. So if you want to feel that out for a moment, leaning into the foot, getting light. Now including the hands, I reach, 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 reach to find a flying warrior. Fight for the balance. I then lower back down. I'm going to circle through horse stance to a double block. One more, deep reaching warrior. Lower my hand down, extended side angle, circle, look at your hand. And then find nice squaring up my hips. Recoil through, lowering the foot down, downward dog. Same thing on the other side. Extending the leg, folding, rising, rolling through. Bend in the back knee. Find my archer. Make sure when you're doing your archer, you're getting the stack. So you're actually finding this thoracic twist as you're pulling. Shoulders stacking. Gaze in front of you. Release. Archer. Horse stance. Double block. Same thing. Blocking in front of the face. I'm going to lower down into my seated half squat. Now, if you need to modify that, I'll show you again. So, from my double block,
I lean into like I'm sitting in a chair, leaning into my right leg. Toes come up, bending my knee, base my hands, bring this hand behind you to get yourself down. If you need to bring your leg in, bring it in, okay? We don't want any injuries. Now, bringing your left hand behind your left hip, draw this extended leg slightly in, and we're going to rise up into Warrior's Bridge on this side. Now, if someone was to sit on my right thigh, I could bridge them all with me. Lowering down. So as I say, remember to check where you're basing your heels and your feet so that you don't feel like your knees are collapsing, because sometimes in that shape, I feel like this leg that we're basing tends to sometimes collapse inward. So you want to make sure that your setup is right. Okay, now from there, we're going to come back up. Same thing, modify as you need. Okay, so whether that's using your hands, bringing the leg in, pushing, basing, bend the knee as they come up, double block, reach for the hip, deep reaching warrior. Now I'm going to lean as I get light on the feet, flying warrior. We can just try a couple. Lean, entry. Because the more you enter, you might be wobbling all over the place. The more you realize how it's a very assertive movement. Pause, release, move to horse stance, double block, deep reaching warrior. Lowering my hand, circling through, squaring up the hips, recoil, extend, lower down, downward dog, roll in vinyasa. Plank, bending the elbows into a prone, finding your cobra roll, flatten the tops of the feet, pelvis to the ribcage, navel to spine, chin to chest, lower the hips as you extend up, floating upward dog, chin to chest, big press, slide on the tops of the feet, flip one foot over at a time, downward facing dog. Lowering your knees, take a moment just to recalibrate, to allow some of that to sink in. Now we will do the last part of the sequence. There is only one thing that we need to add in, and that is a little change of direction. So we're going to add that in, and then, but otherwise you know the core of the sequence now. So if you need to rewind to maybe just, like if you're at your edge and you want to practice those other movements again, go for it. Otherwise, if you're ready to progress, I'm just going to flow through this, add on the other piece, and we're going to just move through it. All right, so finding your 4-point base, stepping the right foot back, left into plank, chin to chest, pressing through, downward facing dog, drawing my feet together, extend the right foot, demi point, hold the heel, rising, rolling, squeeze the knee up, step it through, and then making a fist with the right hand, finding your arrow, bone arrow, bending the left knee, you rise, release the arrow, or a 2, stay low in your stance, moving through a horse stance into a double block, blocking the face through low drop stance, get down however you need to, use your hands, Warrior's Bridge, lower down, and we're going to get back up, use your hands if you need, double block, reaching for the sword, pivot through, deep reaching warrior, leaning forward, Lean, 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 lean into my flying warrior. Now, from here, I'm going to start straightening out my hips, bringing my elbows into my rib cage. I want you to take your left leg, keep it straight, and swing it in front of you. So finding this little, we're going to find a little pendulum swing and turn 180 degrees to face the other side. So as I swing my foot forward, I'm going to take this little hop over my right shoulder. So look over my right shoulder, and I flip. And you want to fight for your balance, right? So if you want to try that again, we're here. I kick this leg through. I fight for my balance, okay? One more time. So we straighten out the hips, hop. Woo! If you fall, just try rekindle your balance. Now I'm going to start reaching for the ground, slight bend in the knee. We're going to just, for this one, we're going to just walk our hands forward, lower down into prone, and through a cobra roll. Remember your breathing. Reverse chin to chest. Downward dog. Drawing the feet together. Other side. We're going to extend the left foot high onto the ball of the right. Drain my knee into my chest. Step it through. Bending my right knee. Find my bow and arrow. Gaze in front of me. Nice, strong release into my warrior two. Moving through horse stance to a double block. Gazing through like I'm sitting in a chair, blocking the face. So I go up, lower into my seated half squat. Base the left hand. Warrior's bridge. Lower down. I return through into my double block. Reach for my sword. Circle. Deep reaching warrior. I come up into my flying warrior. Same thing, I square up my hips. Now I find this little swing, 180 degrees. So we can try it again, 3 times. Catch yourself. Right, fighting for it. Lower into the mat. Bending the knee, find it's almost like a little standing splits. And then I'm going to walk my hands forward into a plank, lowering down, cobra roll, flatten the tops of my feet, rounding through the spine. Big press, tops of my feet, downward facing dog. Now, let's lower the knees onto the mat. Now for the recovery. We're finding a child's pose. Come back to your breath. Just noticing how your body feels. Remember that breath that we created in the beginning. You're coming back to that same quality. Noticing how there's that contrast between fighting and tapping into that powerful, resilient, enduring energy. And then on the contrasting side, there's the yogi and surrendering into the reality, into what is, the isness, being okay with that. Maybe softening into the body, into the breath. The warrior yogi.
We fight and we flow. We fight and we flow. And then sliding your arms to the knees, drawing your knees together. You're going to roll up chin to chest. And you're just going to, final push, you're going to cross your legs in front of you, slide them through. Sorry guys, I know you're tired. Slide them through into seated. And we're going to draw the chin to chest, wrapping in front of your knees, rolling through vertebra by vertebra until you're back into a supine. Now we're going to draw the knees into the chest. Bring your arms up above your head if you can. Extend the feet up. And now using your core to pull yourself into a plow. Now if you feel that that's difficult, you can also bring your hands next to you and then push through the hands to actually push yourself over. Keep a slight bend in the knees. And then get into a plow pose. Think of this transition as being, light and buoyant. Try not to struggle in it. Try to relax. Relax your core. Breathe. And then if you want to extend the knees, you can to get them to touch your fingertips. And a bit more of a stretch in the neck. Winding down the body. Recovering. Then you're going to take this right leg and create a figure 4 by placing the right ankle behind the left leg. You're going to roll through the spine up into this half boat, blocking your face. I'm going to lower my right hip down, and I'll base my hands in front of me, and then this left leg is going to start circling behind me. See how I'm leaning? I'm leaning forward, and then I'm going to find this S-seat, so bending my knee, and then I find this beautiful hip opener. I'm going to then lower my chest towards my leg in front of me, drawing the chin to the chest, rising up, rounding through my back, gazing forward, find an extension in my spine, lowering over the leg. You'll see here, we're finding these spinal undulations. Okay, so rolling forward, straight spine, chin to chest, rounding through the spine. Always finding fluidity in each transition, never going to this place where we can't move. Now, if and only if you have the range in your hips and the flexibility so that it doesn't put strain on the knees, I encourage you to extend this back leg into a full pigeon. But if you feel too much pressure anywhere, like on the knees in particular, then just stay in that S-seat. Same thing. You're going to bring, if you can, your elbows down, rounding through, actually your hands, rounding through the spine. Find an extension. Lowering down. Maybe you want to just hold it for a moment. Breathing, reconnecting with the breath. And then lowering into the right hip. Slowly coming up into your hands. Now lift this left foot, leg, and swing it to the front. Unravel the feet, blocking the face. We're going to roll through, demi-point the feet into supine. Arms overhead. And now pressing your lower back into the mat. Core engaged, navel to spine. Not using any momentum. Pulling my legs overhead into plow. Softening here. You know, remember we can always stay just on the tops of the shoulder blades, because if we start taking it further, we start stretching into the neck. So if that's too much for you, you can just stay here. And remember, we can always bring the hands here for support. Okay, so left leg comes behind the right. I then move through my figure 4 into my half boat, facing my left hip, circling the right leg behind me into my S seat. And again, taking some time for these spinal undulations through. Beautiful. You know, and you can always play with any directions. If you want to, you know, experiment taking it the other way, you know, this is your body, right? This is your practice. So you do what you need to do. If you want to find some twists, then if you want, we can extend this back leg behind us, getting an opening in the hips. Again, finding these undulations. I like to tent my fingers in front of me. Okay, but you find the position that feels nice for you. I like to find a bit of stillness as well into the position. Coming onto my elbows sometimes feels good. You know, you've got to experiment with what your body needs from you right now. This is what it's about. This is the way of the warrior spirit. And then we lean into the hip. Circle my back leg to the front again. Through into supine. Arms overhead. We're coming back. Now, I want you to bring your arms behind your hips. And so just placing them on your lower back. See if you can tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. And if you can either bend your knees and then see if you can get yourself up. If not, if it's easier, I like to go from here where I keep my legs straight and I come up. And then coming out of that, we come back into our plow. We're gonna slowly roll forward, reaching for the outside of our feet, pulling down into a happy baby pose. Beautiful. Really getting that lovely hip opening. You want to think about pinning your tailbone onto the mat. So a lot of people's tailbones come up like this. I actually want you to consciously try to pull down and really root the tailbone into the mat, getting the spine nice and straight. This can take a little bit of time to get to this point. Breathe. Then lowering the feet down, creating these little side to side S seats. Now, I want you just to turn onto your side and then just needle through this bottom arm underneath you to turn into a prone position. So from our prone position, we're going to create a little 90 degrees shape with our right arm, okay? And
you've got the tops of your feet in the mat, and then stabilize with the left hand next to you. Take your left foot, draw it towards the heel. You can actually just release the feet. Lift this left leg up, squeezing through your glutes, pressing away from the mat. And now you should start feeling this intense stretch in the right arm. So I like to actually walk this right arm up a bit. And then you're going to try and get your left foot to touch the mat behind you. And also look, if you can, look up towards the ceiling. If it's too much for your neck, you can just keep your neck neutral, look down. I like to look up because then it intensifies the stretch a bit. Getting nice, opening across the chest, across the shoulders. You know, if we do a lot of working at our desk or sitting, even in jiu-jitsu, we spend a lot of time in that hunched position, you know, in that protective, defensive position. So we don't spend a lot of time opening up the thoracic, opening up the chest. This is a great counter stretch. And then slowly peeling yourself back. We're going to swap it out, the other side now. So the left hand makes a 90-degree shape. Lifting the right leg, peeling yourself over. And now just walking this left hand up slightly. And then we can find this very intense stretch. I'm very tight on my shoulders. Looking up. Breathing. You can really hold it as long as you like. Peeling yourself back. Now we're going to invert the arms. So now you're going to find 90 degrees, but this time with your palm facing up. So the other way. Peel yourself. Other side. Now this time, see if you can get a nice stretch on the outside of the shoulder and base your foot down behind you completely if you can. Take a moment here. If you want, you can even try to reach for that back foot. And we can find a little bit more of kind of a frontline stretch, also in the hip, across the quad. Otherwise, just stay here in your cactus. Taking it back, switching sides, other side. What I like to do sometimes, if you are quite, if you are able and you have the spinal mobility, you can actually bring the other leg up. In this way, we have even more of a spinal twist happening, which is pretty good. Otherwise, just keep it down, right? You know, you got to examine your body and understand like where your edge is. And then release. And then for the final one, we're going to actually bring your palms of your hands slightly in front of you. Chin to chest, round to the spine, pressing away from the mat. Breathe. You can look over the shoulder, other side. Move some circles. Lower back down. And let's actually just finish the sequence here on the mat. Okay, sometimes it's nice to just be on the ground, to feel the earth underneath you. You can actually just rest your forehead onto the tops of your hands. Breathing in.
exhaling out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Coming back to your breath. Showing appreciation for yourselves for showing up today, for doing the work on yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, maybe spiritually, and learning how to take care of our bodies so that we can perform stronger for the rest of our lives. We can move freely, we can perform with strength and mobility, and we can prevent injuries. Together, we are warriors that flow. And you can lie here for as long as you like.
Thank you so much for putting in the work today and for joining me for this wonderful warrior flow. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you, guys.